right, thank you so much for your patience, everyone. Welcome back to game number 2 of this tournament. It's going to be a pretty exciting one for sure. We got a lot going on to talk about from game number 1 and the picks and bans for game number 2. As you can see, if you're just tuning in, we have not switched sides. This is for the Amateur League Invitational Tournament. These two teams are currently playing it out in the quarterfinals best of 3. Scum Gang took them a while to come online last game, but you know what? When you play for late and you get over 400 CS on your Sivir, eventually she'll wipe the team paired with that Orianna and Jarvan. And with that being said, as we see through these picks, they're going to grab the Sivir once again, and Poro Snacks immediately says, we don't want the Wombo combo, let's take away the Jarvan for our own jungler.
Yeah, let's run through these bans super quick. So Scum kept all 3 bans exact same. Rek'Sai, Nidalee, Kindred, all being the exact same, saying, you know what, everything you had last game, we're perfectly okay with. Poro responding by banning the Nautilus, Sylas, and this time banning the Taric away, saying we don't want to deal with any of that, any of those sorts of issues. Poro taking away the J4, saying, you know what, we liked that. We're going to take that. Scum said, you know what, you're right. We liked that Sejuani. We'll take that instead.
And the Braum too.
And the Braum, yeah, and the Braum. And actually, I like Braum more than Taric with Sivir. Because, you know, getting those stuns off is very, very easy with Sivir. If they can lock it down, Sejuani and Braum, I think this could be a very exciting game so far. As Alistar and Orianna both get taken away, I don't expect to see anything too crazy. I expect maybe a Kled ban or something to come in, unless this time Poro's expecting the Sejuani to be, oh, there it is, there's a Kled. So they are respecting that, saying, okay, we don't want the TK or the Kled, which JU has been spamming Tom Kent's top lane. So I think Scum went, you know, we don't want to deal with any of that cheese.
Yeah, don't want the Tom Kench cheese. It can be a little annoying. We actually saw it in yesterday's groups stage games. It came out in one game and looked pretty strong, pretty strong. Had a lot of pressure on that top side, which is what you want, of course, when you got a top laner, as well as bringing the jungler in for a bunch of ganks. As we see that Echo locked in by Poro Snacks, they're gonna keep that Jinx and Lissandra, as you mentioned earlier. However, I'm curious to see with that Jarvan that they've stolen away, how they can deal with Scum Gang's Sejuani now in the jungle, because you're kind of taking the same junglers, swapping sides with them, but I'm betting that Sejuani is in the jungle, as we still have yet to see the mid laner and top laner locked in for Scum Gang, which their top lane was their last pick. So now with that Malzahar locked in, we get to see who is it going to be. And once again, while they may have been swapping a couple of champions around, Scum is actually the one rocking all the CC. The Malzahar ultimate, the stuns from Braum, the Sejuani ultimate, and an Urgot for that top side.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised to see Poro holding their support pick until last. Unless, you know, this could be a cheese J4 support pick in the works or something along those lines. Which it is, as the Gangplank gets hovered and locked in.
Oh my goodness. So we got some crazy picks coming out here. That Gangplank, one of those spicy late game champions, but can also impact the map as well with that ultimate. And mostly, I'm just still trying to wrap my head around what looks to be an Echo support. Wait, I'm really actually confused now.
Well, no, it's a J4 support.
So a J4 support Echo jungle Gangplank top?
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Look at Poro's composition. It is all over the place.
I think it's Lissandra support, J4 jungle. Oh, you know what?
It's the Jinx support, Lissandra top. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'm going to switch it all up. I'm going to say it's Gangplank top lane, Echo jungle, Lissandra mid with a J4 support.
Okay, well, that doesn't sound that crazy for me. If I had to, when looking at the composition, I definitely would say Echo jungle. We've seen it a couple times before. Can play a little bit to the tankier side if he wants to. Give me 1 second. He can play a bit tankier side if he needs to. Gangplank, I still think the top lane out of any role is a little bit better for them. Can still run the Kleptomancy, can get some great poke off, especially against that Urgot. If he gets hit by that ultimate, he can usually... Can't he cleanse out of it with his citrus? His scurvy. Consume scurvy or whatever it is. I'm not sure. I don't know if he can actually remove scurvy, the ultimate, out of the Urgot, but either way, it's still a pretty good matchup.
I don't think once you get pulled in, you can. That one, you know, that's an interesting I'm not too sure about. You know, I play quite a bit of Urgot, but I don't see Gangplank too often, so that's an interesting one. I know with, like, Warwick, you can get out of Urgot's ultimate when you get the fear off. you actually can escape from that. There's not too many champions that can. So that's a really interesting one. There's a lot to talk about in this draft, though.
And I love the chat as well, coming into that Twitch chat. All of you guys getting in on giving your suggestions on what you think the composition is going to be. A lot of you agreeing that it is most likely going to be that J4 in the bottom lane. Now, that was pro-drafted, so we actually get to find out right now where those end up going in the end. So we'll see who is right. Let's talk about support options right now, because a couple people are saying that J4 support, he's got a lot of poke when it comes to that flag. Demacian standard, if he runs a little bit of AP, plus he does end up scaling into a fairly good tank. He can engage pretty well with that EQ, but he brings nothing for the Jinx. Well, no one brings anything for the Jinx on this composition, so Akash are going to be left out to dry potentially. Go ahead.
Feeding into that, though, once J4 gets a Cataclysm going, if he catches several members together, Jinx is able to just, whale rockets into there, get the AoE damage going off, especially with the Runons coming in. There is that. Instead, I want to talk about compositionally some things to keep in mind. I think Scum drafted really well, so I want to hold off on that for just a second and talk about Poro's composition here. They have essentially a 1-3-1 composition, right? You have Lissandra and Gangplank, who you want to keep in your side lanes, and then you have J4, Jinx, and Echo. The problem is you don't necessarily... Jinx, J4, and Echo are not necessarily the strongest of three-man characters. When you think of, we're drafting a 1-3-1, you think something more along the lines of Xayah. Jinx can, but you need supports, not J4. You have supports. You could do Soraka, you could do TK. TK was banned away, but Alistar even. You need characters that are able to either help the ADC escape or put a little bit more zoning pressure in. Whereas J4 really doesn't provide any. J4 is an engage tool. If you're running a 1-3-1, it's not ideal.
We'll see what it is as that Echo for the jungle is locked in, so we know for sure that it's not going to be an Echo support or an Echo mid lane, as they're hovering that Lux, but obviously they should switch over to the Lissandra, giving us in the end that Jinx and J4 in the bottom lane. So as those last picks are going to come through that we've already seen with the pro draft, let's discuss the pairing of the Braum Sivir versus Jinx Jarvan, because Jinx gonna have some decent poke, especially with those rockets. Doesn't have to worry too much about a Braum, massive engage. Braum is the defensive champion, right? He could try to use the stand behind me to jump forward and land that Winter's Bite onto someone, but generally speaking, gonna be playing back, letting Sivir just farm, very similar to what we saw last game. But J4 throws the kink into everything. If the spell shield from Sivir doesn't come through well, J4 could just flag and drag straight on her, land some of his own damage. Paired with that Jinx, they could find themselves some kills on that Sivir.
Right, so the whole concept behind J4 or J4 support is with its synergy with Ahri. Right, the way Ahri works with J4 support is the only thing initially that made it viable in any shape or form, and also the fact that I don't expect him to go AP, but if he opts to, so a lot of J4s will take something like a Zhonya's or something like that because of the scaling of the flag drop, and they'll use the flag drop aggressively and use it more as a damage tool along with the buff to the attack speed, and then it just continues to proc carry basically non-stop. So it kind of gives your AD carry a little bit of a buff there. The problem though is that if Braum connects a stun, it'll be really hard for them to react to things, right? Like J4 cannot help Jinx get away in any shape or form, right? The only thing J4 can do is go it.
Right.
He has a flag and drag, right? That's what he has. That's his kit. He is I see you, I can now get to you, or I can get away.
Oh, we can hear those alarms. No, those sirens are actually coming in. Is that the ambulances for Poro Snacks, as they did lose game number 1, and Scum Gang have got themselves a amazing composition of CC in their own right. Not only do you have that Malzahar ultimate, the Sejuani ultimate, the Braum CC coming through as well. They just played a game where they delayed, and just held the game steady until their Sivir got online and could destroy, and now they also have that Urgot as well. You can't escape on a Jinx. If that Urgot gets you low enough, he's going to pull you in, and while Jarvan Cataclysm is really great at setting up a potential fight, that Urgot's fear could just negate all of that. It's if he gets it off early enough. I was told very quickly by the Twitch chat that the Gangplank Scurvy will actually clear both the Malzahar ultimate and the Urgot ultimate. So that may be why Jayu went ahead and locked that in as soon as he saw those champions being picked up.
Yeah, Gangplank's also a really powerful solo laner, though, right, as the game ramps up. The one thing that you do have to keep in mind is that, you know, we're kind of attacking Poro here, saying, oh man, this comp's weird, it's not great, you're running this 1-3-1, which, by the way, analyst flex.
All right, well, as we tick down the last couple seconds of this spectator delay, let's go ahead and roll through the players and their champions, starting off as we might have lost Smartest, so I'll roll through it until he comes back. Scum Gang, Spooter Juan with that Urgot on the top side, always there, locking into Sejuani for the jungle. Rosin on the Malzahar in the mid lane. Subhuman with the Sivir in the AD carry role. And Homie rounding him out with the Braum in the support. To the side of Poro Snacks, we've got JOTK with the Gangplank at the top side, A-Man on that Echo in the jungle, Trish with the Lissandra in the mid lane, Akasha 75 on the Jinx AD carry, and Arbok this time on the Jarvan, the fourth support, which is not something that you typically see. So we'll have to kind of keep our eyes on how that gets played out. I also want to talk about this Echo in the jungle. Hasn't seen play, especially in the jungle, for a while. It's been a little bit. He can go a bit on the tankier side, and it definitely enjoys being able to jump into team fights and become a heavy member of damage. You know, that's the thing about Echo is that he doesn't bring a ton of CC, but what he doesn't bring in CC, he can bring in damage. And his ability to kind of dab a backline and then immediately jump out with that ultimate, keeping himself super safe, can be crucial. And we'll see if he can pull that off, because a Malzahar ultimate could negate a lot of that. Welcome back, Smartest. Good to have you back.
Hello. Yeah, it got all sorts of lagging for me. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Anyways, where are we at? Did we run through the lineup? What's happening? Is it still 2019?
It is still 2019, and at the moment, we've got a minute left to discuss the compositions and what they want to do. I broke down Echo just a little bit, getting a feel for where he wants to be going, maybe trying to jump in on the Sivir Malzahar and assassinate them before getting out with that ultimate. But I'm still going to be keeping an eye on this top lane, the Gangplank versus the Urgot, because Gangplank can take over a game if he gets snowballing. And JOTK might have the potential to do that, as last game was able to do that at least for the early to mid portion of the game with that Sejuani.
Yeah, so before my very immediate ejection from the interwebs, I was bringing up the fact that, you know, we were sort of talking about, oh, Poro, whoa, weird composition, you know, not at all standard. Oh, look how scary Scum Gang looks. But the one thing to keep in mind is that the damage output late game from Poro Snacks is significant, right? Depending on how Echo builds too, you know, he could opt to go AP, or he could do, you know, the old school tanky style build. But between Gangplank, Lissandra, Jinx, and Echo, the damage output will 100% be higher than Urgot, Sejuani, Malzahar, Sivir, right? Malzahar can lock down one target. The one thing on Malzahar is it sort of forces QSSs from Gangplank and Jinx. Echo, Lissandra having to opt for more like a Zanya sort of routes. But it's crucial to understand that Gangplank late game will nuke teams alongside Jinx. If you have J4 who locks down, let's say, 3 members of Scum Gang, you throw a barrel in there, a Gangplank ultimate in there, Jinx rockets in there, Super Mega Death Rocket, they have tons of high burst AoE damage. So I don't think we can count them out of the race just yet. I think they have a lot of tools in their kit that can utilize to find those advantages. I think it comes down to JU, you know, sort of flexing his mechanics in the top lane. We saw him win the disadvantaged lane of Sejuani into Darius. So if we're saying, okay, you know, this is the shy of the team, this is the guy who can hold his own just fine, leave him up there to get a lead from the Urgot, who, you know, whose early game is a lot weaker than it used to be, given when they reworked the W and everything like that. I think that if Gangplank finds a lead, it can sit in the side wave, and then you have Lissandra, who can also sit in the opposite side of the map. Although Lissandra's not running TP, which would have helped with that, I think you will see a very effective 1-3-1 come in if Gangplank finds the lead he needs to have.
Exactly. We'll see if they can find that out as we are loading onto the Rift for game number 2. Scum Gang with one advantage this game. They won last game. We'll see if they can pull it off again this time around. And with their different picks and composition, maybe they can find it a little bit earlier than I believe what was a 40-minute game for the first game of the day.
Absolutely. And this time, I'm wondering if Scum Gang will look for the invade instead, although both teams are once again looking for the 5-point. I'm really surprised no one's, abusing the Braum. The Braum is known as the invade support. Well, let's leave solo queue Blitzcrank out of it for a second.
Oh, hold on a second. Lysandra going to be taking a little bit of damage. All right, it's just those little bit of ticking damage from the Malzahar, poking for a bit. Echo going to be in a bit of poor positioning for a moment. There's that Braum. You're looking for a bit of an invade. The flash forward from the bomb. They found the stun. That will be Echo falling. There's nothing he can do to escape. His flash already down, and Scum Gang come out with not only first blood, but pressure on the map, having taken down the enemy team jungler.
Braum.
That's all you got to say. Braum. Oh, he also got the kill. So, it's a real feels good when you not only are the lead that allows your team to find that edge, but you also get the kill. Not exactly the best. Would have liked to have that on the Malzahar, maybe even the got to start the game off, but still feels good.
So one interesting to note is normally you always see junglers start red buffs. If you're blue side, you start bot side. If you're on red side, you start top side. This time, J4 is actually matching sides and electing to go for the blue buff. Maybe because, he wants a better leash out of it. Or, sorry, Echo starting on blue side. But I get that Echo's, an AP champion that's sort of main hungry, but he has his passive. I think, ideally, I would have liked to see him start red and work his way towards his blue. He would by the time his mana gets low, he would have already been able to pick up the blue buff. And right away, you see the flag, the flag drop strategy, right? Where you drop the E aggressively as J4. You want every time it's off cooldown. It's off cooldown. You just toss it, get a little more damage, a little more poke damage, a little more poke damage, just like that. Like that.
Being able to do it at level 1 is critical for the side of Poro Snacks, because the more that you can drop it before Sivir gets that spell shield, it's going to be better. Now, after she gets the spell shield, you'll still have spam on it because its cooldown is a lot shorter than Sivir's own spell shield. However, it will block some of them, and so it will be giving her a bit of mana back. She's got that level 2, more than likely has that spell shield now, so we'll see how much the harassment can come through from this Jarvan support from Arbok. Now, an interesting to note is that this support on the side of Poro Snacks was subbed in, and he is a jungle main. So you can assume that he actually knows how to play Jarvan. He's just playing it in the supportive role.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, he is a jungle main, so this is him bringing his champion pull into the bot lane, perhaps. And so even though you have Sivir Braum, which by the way, people often forget, like Braum in laning phase actually sucks until level 2. Level 1 Braum is not very good. He's great for invades, terrible in laning phase, as we saw Echo forcing a flash onto Malzahar there.
Yeah, respectful flash out of Rosin, who says, you know what, I see the Echo coming into the lane. Despite him going down earlier, he's still trying to make some plays, and I'm going to go ahead and flash. However, he might get caught out a bit. Sejuani was in that area, but he will escape to be joined by the Gangplank on the top side of the map.
Yeah, and the one thing to note is, I was talking about how one great way for Poro Snacks to sort of take advantage of their composition is if Gangplank is finding a lead, and he already has a significant CS lead in the top lane. 10 CS up at less than 4 minutes in. That's pretty significant. If he's able to keep snowballing that forward, they might be able to find the tools they need to bring a a draft comeback.
Yeah, but he can't go too far as the Sejuani is seen pinged out. He does know that it's there with the ward that was in the brush. However, there is now no longer a ward there. Wouldn't be bad if Echo came in to go ahead and drop one of his own wards, keeping that vision safe for the side of Gangplank as he continues to shove that Urgot in. And with Sejuani backing, Spooter Juan gonna just have to back and leave that top lane alone for a while longer.
Absolutely, and just continuing forward, we actually have a CS lead almost across the board. We have Gangplank 10 CS up, 12 CS up. We have Echo 2 camps up. It's now even in the mid lane now that Lysandra is back, but Lysandra also had a lead in the mid lane. Oh, actually, it looks like Sivir will find a smoke. No, I don't think Sivir's going to get any of these.
Oh,
So
that's just
not
so
even.
sad to watch.
Ugh. When you're AD carry and you see that, and you know no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you cannot get any of those, it's sad. As you watch every one of those minions die, you can't. A tear just comes down.
Well, yeah, you can only build one tier, though, so only one tier will fall. So, yeah, I did want to note that, well, we got a little bit of a slower moment here. We're talking about it. There's still a question in my mind, at least, why so many pro players, when a ward gets dropped, their instinctual response is to turn and auto-attack that ward. It's really good. However, you know, unless you're on certain champions like Leona that can reset her auto-attack with the Q, or maybe even a Riven or something, you're probably not going to clear that ward without that Scrying or Blossom or something of that nature. So, you know, it still confuses me why you'd sit there and waste the time to turn and to smack one time on a ward that you know is just going to turn invisible and you won't be able to clear. Talking about wards, though, bottom side of the map is pretty well warded by both sides around that Ocean Drake. Scuttle Crab currently controlled by Poro Snacks. Go ahead with what you're going to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, look at this poke in her ass. It's always surprising, right? When it first came around, people were so skeptical about it, but the consistent damage that J4 support can put down is actually pretty high. Look, it's just constant harass with Aerie, just over and over and over again. And Gangplank is actually also playing this matchup very, very well. Our guy kind of struggles a little bit early on because. First of all, it takes a long time for his legs to come back up after they go on cooldown. And also, in the matchup, it's really hard for Urgot to find and engage onto Gangplank. Theoretically, if Urgot finds the engage onto Gangplank, he should be able to win the trade very heavily. But getting to Gangplank is a problem in this particular matchup. As Gangplank, you can just always stay out of Urgot's range and be perfectly fine.
Now, interestingly enough, this Gangplank is not running Kleptomancy, at least not that I can see, so he's definitely looking at being a bit more self-sustained, and it won't have quite the same gold scaling into the later stages of the game, but still will be strong, as you've been saying, even ahead in CS over this Urgot, doing well, and just fine. That Urgot joining the Sejuani, try to control this vision around the top side of the map. The Scuttle Crab coming up here shortly. Echo headed towards that mid lane. We might see a little bit of a gank there as that Malzahar is there. Hold on a moment. I'm actually just going to grab the camera. No, I can't because Urgot's trying to go in onto Gangplank on the top side. JU just taking a little bit of harass down to about half health. Just going to do some clear scurvy to heal back up. What's happening down here in the mid lane? Not much, just a little bit of pressure from each side, seeing where the other team is going.
Yeah, and what's really, really interesting to me is that Urgot is maxing Q in this lane. Normally, as Urgot, you always max Purge because you want to get it to rank 5 so that it's always up. You just consistently, you're able to proc legs super quickly. Oh, that's a flash is forced there. But you basically want to get to rank 5 as soon as you can. Instead, here we have Corrosive Charge being maxed, which actually will hurt his mid game pretty heavily. Because he's not going to be able to he's not going to be able to apply the charges of his legs.
A little bit of C onto the Sejuani, forces the Arctic Assault. As a little bit of harass comes in the bottom lane. Both teams look at the just skirmishing that they're doing. They're poking away. They're trying to see if there's any cracks in the enemy team's armor, and maybe Trisha's found one. They've got the Sejuani. Echo picking up the kill. He's found revenge for going down earlier. Rosin dropping low. The Sejuani going to turn around, though, instead focusing on Disputer Juan. They're trying to jump onto the Malzahar. Sorry, he will go down. Gangplank, JU joining his team to be able to pick that one up. Sejuani dropped earlier, and the ultimate from Urgot not going to be successful.
Yeah, really well played there by Poro. Able to find the picks in the enemy's jungle. Getting a kill onto Gangplank is so crucial here. Like I said, if Gangplank finds a lead, I think that will be the catalyst that actually gives their composition some strength.
Well,
as I mentioned before, now go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, he's got 2 of his 3 items for that Trinity Force, which will be most likely his first item of the game. A bit of a power spike for him. What I want to see is after he completes it, where does he go? Is he going to be that split push that's constantly shoving it down? Or is he going to try to come to this bottom lane with a teleport, and where that fighting kind of keeps going back and forth, the CS is fairly even between these 2 bottom laners. Maybe he could be that difference coming in with that ultimate.
Absolutely. So one thing to note also, like as to why we're seeing a little more gameplay coming up before now, as opposed to like let's say half a year ago, is that Spell Shield just a little bit too late. Oh, as Urgot goes in.
Oh, Gangplank taking a little bit of damage, just dropping the Urgot down to about half, but again, he's going to have plenty of heals to come back up. The Sivir ultimate called the bottom lane of Sejuani coming in. Always there with successful last game with these gangs. The exhaust comes down, forces the flash out of the Jinx. Arbok in trouble. He's going to go golden, trying to wait for the cooldowns for the flag and drag to come back up, and it will go through, but the stun chases him down. The auto attack from the Sivir as well, and he will fall in the bottom lane, giving a second kill to Scum gang down there as the sirens are called. The ambulances arrive for Arbok, trying to get him back into this game with that death.
The timing of that could not have been more perfect. As J4 goes down, the ambulances come.
Oh, the gank at the top side. Echo coming in from the jungle, looking for Suitor Juan, and he will drop. There's no team there to respond and help out, so with him down, this TP just came off of cooldown. We'll see if he burns it, coming back at the top side, trying to keep that farm even. But again, this Gangplank 2-0, currently sitting on 800 gold, might be completing that Infinity Edge sooner than we think.
Absolutely.
Or Trinity Force.
The one thing to keep in mind with trades between Gangplank and Urgot is in an extended fight, Gangplank wins the war of attrition there, right? Because after the melee fight goes under 50-50, O is trying to force something mid. Braum just walking on through, not caring.
Ju about half health. He's going to walk away for now. The pressure, though, from Scum Gaming in this mid lane as they have brought that Braum up as well. Echo has started the Rift Herald. He's going to be able to pick that up without contest. A-Man doing a fantastic job after dying at the very beginning of the game. Was able to just hold it together, not worry about it. And the one thing that I love about this game in particular, we haven't seen any blue attempt steals by A-Man this game. So Poro Snacks not going to be giving free kills over by their jungler jumping in to the enemy team's blue buff area.
And I'm so confused by what I just watched happen with Homie there. The Braum, like, he was like, you know what, I'm wearing a suit, I'm going to just walk in. But I don't know what he was trying to accomplish. I have no idea what the benefit of that was, other than allowing Poros to set up a freeze on the bot side of the map there. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, though, in an extended duration fight between Gangplank and Urgot, when they both get down to around half HP and disengage, Gangplank now has the advantage because of his range. He can utilize his Q to harass, parlay to harass down the Urgot and then zone him off of the waves, which is exactly how he wants to play that. So actually, a 50, in a fight where they both lose about half their health and then disengage, that's in Gangplank's favor. Urgot needs to look for execution plays, and the only way he can do that is if he calls Sejuani on him. So right now, I think the play for Scum is to let Gangplank push in the wave and then call Sejuani up there. But instead, looks like we're about to see a 3v3 or potentially a 4v3 happen in the bot side of the map.
With that Shelly gone, the Rift Herald not on the map anymore for an attempted pick. It's kind of hovering around the Ocean Drake for both teams, fighting for a little bit of vision. Echo down the moment. The J4 is going to catch out the Sivir. Force the flash as the Braum was heading up a bit too early. And now J4 walking away. He's already used that ultimate. The Glacial Fissure used by the Braum to knock up the Jinx. She's going to be in a bit of trouble trying to get a little bit more damage down, but she's stunned up. The Concussive Blows passive stun. Just too much. A second kill going over to Subhuman, who did a fantastic job with that Sivir last game and is doing just as good this game. The Ocean Drake still up and available. Scum Gang, though, just playing a bit on the safer side, coming around. They're going to see that Poro Snacks is clearing some vision.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we look at the builds here for a second, like you see, oh, never mind. It's just Lissandra getting caught out. We'll have to use Claw to get away. Nothing too crazy happening, although they did manage to burn the flash, which is pretty crucial. Ocean Drake, I'm actually really surprised that Poro has not opted to try and burn this Ocean early on, as it would really help their 1-3-1 style composition. That is a really important Drake for them. Mountains and oceans are crucial for that. So I would like to see A-Man put a little more pressure towards the Dragon. But build-wise, we see Negatrons on both Echo and Lissandra. Most likely both going to be built into Abyssals here.
The Echo has that Rift Herald. It's down to about a quarter of its time left, so sooner than later, he's going to have to drop it in a certain lane. The laning phase drew out for a very long time last game, and it's looking like it's going to happen again this game. We see the turret plates already gone, but no turret close to falling. Everyone just happy to keep that skirmishing happening in the middle of these lanes.
Absolutely. And going back to what I was talking about, with the Abyssal Masks, you have to remember that it's a 1-3-1 stock composition, right? So with Lissandra, my only assumption they've identified this is, okay, as Lissandra, you say, okay, if I'm going to be constantly matching this Malzahar, I need some way of dealing with the harass Malzahar offers. And getting an Abyssal Mask or an Adaptive Helm is a great way to approach that. But obviously, as being an AP caster,
oh, here comes Echo to the top side. A-Man looking for the game, but Sejuani is here. She finds his son in the gangplank. He's got a flash. He doesn't have the consume up and available for him to try to heal. However, he's going to be playing around the brush. The Echo is forcing the Sejuani to walk in circles, and Jayo finds the kill. It's a 2-0 in the top lane for Poro Snacks with a great response, and now the Lissandra is going to be finding herself ulted by the Malzahar. Both of them trying to respond as well, but with the ultimate down from Rosin, there's nothing else this Malzahar can do and has to walk away.
Yeah, nice cleanse by Rosin there, but as we saw, right, the fact that Trish has that Negatron means that there's nothing Malzahar can do against Trish there.
Rough stuff, and with that perfect timing of the gank on that top side, the Rift Herald was dropped by the Echo, making sure they could secure themselves the first turret of the game, and again, pouring more gold onto this Gangplank, who is already 3-0. Shelly's going to get a charge onto that second turret. Not much more going to happen there. Echo looking for a little bit something here in the mid lane. He's still going to be dodging in, but a good spell shield passive by the Malzahar slows things down a little bit, and he heads back out to the bottom side of the map.
Now that they've broken top tower, right? Now Poro Snacks can easily look to set up this dragon, because then, you know, we have such we're gonna be able to create so much pressure topside now. We still have teleport available on JU. This is our dragon to take.
3 kills to 5. 1,000 gold lead for the side of Poro Snacks. They're going to start up the Ocean Drake. The Sejuani and the Braum are both here. Always There was able to steal an incredible Elder Drake last game. So you know that he's good when it comes to these 50-50 smite fights. So we'll see if he can do it again once more onto this Ocean Drake. Ready for the Arctic Assault, but will not use it. Instead, seeing the Ocean Drake go down, says it's not worth fighting over. Echo A-Man looking for the Sivir on the bottom side. Homie doing what he can. A great 3-man Glacial Fissure is going to get them out for now. As that Boomerang deals pretty good damage to A-Man, dropping him to about half.
And one thing to keep in mind is now we have Gangplank with the Trinity completed. He's going to be doing tons of damage with his parlays. I want to see JU rotate back to the top.
JU's here, though, trying to fight the Urgot. The Malzahar's here. He's got the Spell Shield as well. The Silence comes through onto the Gangplank, but he's just going to clear that Scurvy, walk away.
Yeah, at this point, JU doesn't want to go for close range 1v1s, right? After you get the Trinity, you can just basically infinitely kite. Because of the movement speed you gain off of your parlay, you should never be close to Urgot. You can just Q, harass him out, just kite him out, use barrels, slow him down, and just like he can play with his food at this point. And the second he opts for either Stair Axe or Storm Razor, that he can continue that lead forward.
Indeed. Now, 1,000 gold lead for the side of Poro Snacks. Most of that on this Gangplank. Farm's still fairly even there. But look at the farm in the jungle. The Echo is currently 40 CS over this Sejuani. And on a champion that isn't going to only be building tank, he's got that Sheen as well to start to scale into a little bit of damage as well. This is really, really good out of A-Man, who started the game having gone down immediately to the enemy team. I want to see, as he continues to stack that up, whether it's babysitting time for that Gangplank, or if he's going to be watching over this Jinx, who really needs all the peel that she can get with no true support for the side of Poro Snacks.
Yeah, and actually, I would like to see JU continue to match the Urgot, as Sivir, Sivir and Braum. When the second you have two people, it's a lot easier to focus out the barrels. So it's a lot harder for Gangplank to look for those wave clear sort of things. He can continue to snowball the lead if he matches the Urgot. But on the other hand, the one thing, going.
Oh, J4 trying to make a play under the Urgot on that top side. Scooter Juan down to about half. The Echo's gonna go through. He's gonna ult himself out. He stays alive, but now the J4 is in. Jinx is taking up the turret. She's gonna go down. The heal is wasted, but it's an execution. Sejuani with good roam is able to take down the J4, and so that will be a trade 2-for-1. However, gold-wise, it's just a 1-for-1.
And I was just going to say that it lets you dive the single person, in this case being the Urgot, but they weren't grouped for that fight yet. Bricks out. Now, in a 1v1 situation, I do like this, though. GP against Sivir, GP has the advantage here. He can look to push this in, although Sivir it's kind of like 50-50 because Sivir can also, like as you saw, just push Q and W and the wave is just gone. And there's no need to fight the Gangplank. And in this scenario, what happens is Sivir is able to free farm, and you don't want Sivir to free farm. So for a large number of reasons, I think if you are Poro Snacks here, you switch back to the 1v1.
Oh, the damage from Sivir in the bottom lane. Jay is going to be dropping low, and man, you were just talking about it. Subhuman 3-0 just decimates JOTK in a 1v1.
The analyst muscles are strong this game.
Woo, looking so good. That Malzahar hasn't been able to do that much. We want to see more roams and more uses of that ultimate. It's so incredibly powerful, especially as a pick potential. But instead, he's been stuck in this mid lane. Trish doing a fantastic job of just keeping Malzahar focused on clearing those waves as she continues to force him into that mid lane.
Yeah, it's interesting because this time, now that Scum Gang have the Sivir, they sort of have the protect the AD carry style composition, right? They have the CC lockdown from the Urgot, Sejuani, and Malzahar, and Braum, the 4 CC lockdown comp, just like Poro Snacks had last time, but this time we have once again Subhuman with a lead, getting a shutdown bonus off of the Gangplank, and now having a roughly 2k gold lead on Jinx. That is such a huge gold lead at 21 minutes later.
Oh, hold on. There's a bit of a fight around the Echo. He's going to ult back to the Sivir, trying to get as much damage as he can, but he's immediately exhausted and stunned. A-Man will fall, and the Sivir comes up with a 4-0. And this is where, once that Sivir got online, things were looking good for Scum Gang last game around. And this game, they seem to be doing the same thing.
And this is exactly what I was just talking about. And this tower is about to go down. The barrels GP can't do anything about the barrels. The only thing is Sivir has red buff, which is actually super unfortunate because she keeps eating tower shots because of the burn that she's applying on the GP. This is going to be an uncontested draw. Actually, J4, they are positioning for it, but I don't think it's smart for Poro Snacks to contest this Drake.
All right, with the Mountain Drake going to be started up. Scum Gaming in control of it. Super Mega Death Rocket from Akasha not going to do anything but tickle the back of Urgot. And where last game you were seeing some advantages and opportunities from Poro Snacks when it came to those fights, this time Scum Gang, look at their tanky front line. The Braum, the Sejuani, and the Urgot, who, yeah, he's got that Black Cleaver, but he's also building into these tanky stats. They are going to be absorbing so much damage from the side of Poro Snacks. And again, letting Subhuman on the Sivir just walk through the team.
Yeah, and itemization is always like very, very crucial, especially in 1v1 compositions. So I like that Echo built the Abyssal Mask, but I don't think it was at the right time. I think I would have liked to see Echo rush something like a Proto Belt into Lichbane and then look into an Abyssal Mask, even keeping the Negatron Cloak if needed as a 1v1 between support stats.
Arbok in trouble, stun up. The CC chains are good. They're going to find that one. The TP coming in as well from the Orc on the bottom side, giving GP some free time down there. We'll see if he decides to join or keeps pushing as a Lissandra going to fall. And one by one, the double kill for the Sivir. The side of Scum Gang are continuing to build these leads. 1,000 gold now. GP's going to get on that bottom lane turret. Should be able to secure it as Poro Snacks kind of just say, you know what, we're going to cut our losses around there. The Jinx is alone on the top side. Echo trying to join her to defend.
Yeah, I can only assume Trish pathing, maybe? Kind of just walked into the enemy team and then just tried to walk away. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe lag?
Maybe.
That's when you call lag.
Mid lane, second tier turret left up and alone, so Scum Gaming just walk right in, clear that up. They've also got this vision around the Baron, seeing the Echo there as well. And they're doing a much better job of, when they have these small leads, they're just scaling them forward little by little by little. They're making very safe plays. They're not doing anything crazy. They're just making sure that they have those advantages set in place before collapsing and finding those kills and finding those objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was just talking about itemization a second ago. I cannot say that I am a condoner of the QSS Lissandra. I think there are better ways you could utilize the gold from that, going for a stopwatch or out into Lasagnas. before a QSS, which only builds into Mercurial Scimitar, unless you plan on selling it later on. I gotta question that a little bit. We'll see if it works out for Lissandra, but I suspect the lack of damage from building the QSS will show its colors pretty soon, especially when the next objective on the map is the Baron buff that you see both teams now setting up vision for.
Alright, the engage going in. Sejuani ultimate is going to miss, but the Braum ultimate is good so far for Poro Snacks. They're finding the collapse over the rest of the team from Scum Gaming are here. Braum's going to find himself a kill onto that Echo. The Malzahar ultimate over the wall, locks down the Lissandra. She's going to get stunned up and fall as well. Arbok on the run in the middle of, well, it was a little bit of a 1v1 with the Sivir, and the Sivir lives. Subhuman once again finding a kill onto the J4. The Lissandra finally goes down after all of that CC. In the meantime, Gangplank is still trying to get a little split push on the bottom side of the map. This should be bare for the side of Scum Gaming. They're low though, and our Kasha somehow lived through that last fight. Is still here, could try to get in and do a little bit of harass. She's got the zap up and available. Gangplank ultimate is down. Is the Jinx with that zap? She definitely can't steal the Baron now. She doesn't have anything else. Is it just going to be a rocket? Ooh, that second zap was actually pretty darn close. Couple of rockets onto Rosin, but it's a Baron for 5 members of Scum Gang.
I don't know why JU didn't TP into that. There were 4 members ripe for the taking, under 500 health apiece. Teleport was available. They have a pink ward in the river on the top side bush.
Maybe
I'm
just
saying
looking for, you know what, when you take down a turret, it's guaranteed to be gone. The Baron, we can delay and kind of just absorb. If we keep them from taking any more structures, we can wait for that Baron buff to fall off and then look for something after that. They did, with that Gangplank push on the bottom side, crack the base open from Scum Gang and make sure that there is an open inhibitor down there. However, that didn't work for them last game. Remember, all of the invades, all of the times that players were able to take those inhibitors again and again, but they continuously lost out on those fights, and it eventually stacked up to just be way too much, and Scum Game still took the victory.
Yeah, maybe it was a 2000 IQ play.
We'll see whether or not that's the case, as JOTK gonna get jumped upon. The ultimate from the Urgot is slowly ticking away. However, not going to be able to pull that Gangplank in as he heals up for now. Sejuani coming in around the Tri-Brush. Doesn't go in with anything crazy or the ultimate. And it's just shoving Poro Snacks backwards as the Scum Gang is looking for pressure around this Ocean Drake, and they're going to start it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Sivir, you got it. Like, Sivir has not died yet. Braum has not died yet. All players of Scum Gang are playing this so very well right now.
Oh, Gangplank stuck on the bottom side of the map, going to be hit by that Malzahar ultimate. He's going to clear and flash away. The rest of the fight happening underneath the turret. Trish getting extremely low, but Lissandra is still alive for the moment. Always there, looking to be that front line. A-Man trying to back up and get a little bit of damage. Akasha taking a bit of a step forward. Too far forward, however, hasn't gone down just yet. Look at the crits from the Sivir, dropping him low. Echo goes in, ult backwards, and once again, the pressure from Poro Snacks as Spooderman is chasing Gangplank all around the bottom side of the map. Poro Snacks are defending this bottom lane second tier turret, but they're not doing a very good job as their healths continue to get lower and lower. It's a Braum from Hobie doing an amazing job with the Unbreakable, defending on all those projectiles flying in. The ultimate is out from the Urgot. He's got to get close enough to pull Arbok in. The GA4 throws down that ultimate, locking people up underneath the turret, but he's pulled into his own doom. Second tier turret on the bottom side falls. The rest of the team going to be pushing forward. The Flame Chompers from the Jinx going to time out. They've got a small minion wave, but it's Baron up, poking away on the bottom lane turret, and with that, they'll be happy with the one turret and the kill, and back away.
Take a breath, Jake. Take a breath. So as I was talking before, it's so hard for Gangplank to find the barrels in situations, right? This is why Gangplanks love the 1-3-1 sort of playstyle. Yes, Gangplank can put down tons of damage with barrels. Barrels scale so hard in the late game, but it can be really tricky trying to actually get those barrels into those fights, right? Typically, you have to look for the phantom barrel sort of playstyles. You know, you put a barrel behind you, and then one on top of you. You fire the one behind you, and then throw the third one towards the enemy's out, so they don't even have time to hit it. And we're seeing here that, you know, Gangplank isn't able to find those barrels. He does have the Sterax. He does have the Trinity. It looks like he's going for the IE now, which will give him the crits he needs for off the parlay. But I mean, at this point, I think that the itemization choices we saw from Echo and Lissandra, you're really starting to see where they're impacting the game now, right? You see Echo, who has opted to build for a tank route, right? Going, even though he built Runic Echo as jungle item, has opted for Abyssal Mask and Iceborne, trying to be the front line that J4 can't be because he lacks gold as a support.
Oh, the collapse potential from Poro Snacks. The TP comes in from the Urgot on the top side. They immediately back away. The Sivir ultimate going to be called. They could be diving underneath the mid lane turret. The ultimate from Sejuani is good. That's going to be the Echo falling immediately. They could try to turn onto neutral objectives when they come up, but no, they're just going to be focusing on the middle inhibitor turret, taking that down. The inhibitor to follow as well. So they have secured an inhibitor for themselves. Scum Gang ping back. They potentially might be headed towards that bottom side, as that is what they ping, but no, they're going to look instead for the top, the open turret up there, and Poro Snacks going to have to take their time to try to go up and defend it.
People always forget that when you're playing Urgot and you have Purge active, you hit plants as soon as you see them. So we saw Urgot, who had W held active, just scatter his team off of the red plant. It's just one of those funny things. It's kind of really crappy when you're in a fight, right? And you're gonna go to a plant to escape from it, and you end up hitting it and knocking yourself back into the enemy.
Ooh, that feels bad. However, what feels good is looking for the Lissandra. Trish dropping down to about half. The Sejuani chasing her around the bottom side of this turret. Once again, Jayu kind of playing around the outskirts of this fight, seeing what he can manage to do. The engage is continuing. He's just drawing this Urgot away, using the blast cone, getting into the Dragon Pit. In the meantime, though, the fight around the turret, dropping people low. Echo's been able to find the Sivir. Lissandra takes out the Braum. Gangplank finishes off the take of Sejuani. The Urgot, the only one left alive, as the tanky member, because GP finds Malzahar on the back end of the fight, trying to escape. Malzahar ultimate, GP doesn't care about. He's got the shield from the Jarum's fist, and now they can chase on the Urgot as well. Spooter Juan dropping low, taken out. It's an ace for the side of Poro Snacks, who strike back in what is an absolutely crazy game that for most of it Scum Gang have led, but you see as soon as Sivir falls, the rest of the team are like dominoes, one at a time being taken out.
I don't know why GP waited so long to TP.
Okay.
He might not get this.
That was an interesting Jarvan tanking the turret in the mid lane, trying to give his team time to take down it, I guess. But without a wave. Without a wave, it was just an execute, and the team's still waiting on that wave to come up. They're going to go ahead and set that recall, but an inhibitor claimed by GP in the bottom lane as he is TP'd there.
So, do you remember 10 minutes ago when you called the 2000 IQ play? After they won the fight, because of the exposed inhib bot, Gangplank was able to TP down there and take the inhib. Can we say calculated?
I don't know if I want to go quite that far. It might have just been a little bit more luck, but you do have to give credit to A-Man for finding that Sivir in the middle of the fight. And also, a shout out to Jayo for doing what he does best, drawing that Urgot away from the team. Sejuani kept kind of playing between the sides, going, do I join the team or do I try to chase? Even though we got a little bit of another fight going on at the moment, and Subhuman takes out Echo. No chance for him to find the assassination again. The Malzahar is going to lock down J4. We got a double kill for the Sivir so far. Urgot's going to find himself one. They can chase in onto Jayo. The Gangplank in trouble, running away. Goodbye, Jinx. She's stunned up. Triple kill for the Sivir, and that might be the end of the game, because once again we're post that 30-minute mark. So we've got 30 seconds on members of Poro Snacks. Scum Gaming, they strike back fast and hard. They say, you know what? We let our guard down. We were having a little bit of fun. We want to end this game. We want it to go 2-0. We want to move forward in the Amateur League Invitational Tournament, and Scum Gang will be your first quarterfinals team to move on forward.
Yeah, great game by both sides there. A-Man definitely overestimating his tankiness. They're jumping in the middle of 3 members of Scum Gang, just getting instantly CC locked and blown up, not even having enough time to ult back out of that. Might have been a bit of a throw there, especially when they just found themselves the first lead of the game. But all in all, it was just so well played by Scum Gang there.
Yeah, just insane. As we look at the stats post game, there are a couple of things to keep your eyes on, especially when it comes to looking forward at the future games. The semifinals will get played next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a best of 5. So if you are a big fan of Scum Gang, or you've at least been turned into a fan because of these games, that is the time to come and check back in. But this game, look at Subhuman again. We keep harping on him, but I would say the MVP of both of these games for this series, because that Sivir's positioning was so crucial, solo killing the Gangplank in the bottom lane by herself, and then being able to position in those team fights. It wasn't always the best, i.e. that one fight in which the Echo found him out and the whole team fell apart from there. However, outside of that, perfect positioning and amazing. We could check on the damage here in just a second, but the side of whatever team faces off against Scum Gang, you got to keep in mind, potentially just straight up ban that Sivir. Just straight up ban that Sivir. Do not let it through. If you do, you're going to have to respond with a stronger bot lane than Poro Snacks brought these games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, I would have liked to see something a little spicier come out. Maybe like in response to Sivir, maybe like a Draven or something like that. Although Draven's typically more of an AD carry, you need to have a good number of games on to, bring it out in this sort of environment. I would have loved to see something super aggressive into it. And like you said, Subhuman did play those games very well, finding a lead in both games after first picking Sivir in both drafts. Blind pick, first pick Sivir, both games.
Just absolute incredible. On the side of Poro Snacks, while they will not be moving forward, they do have that little bit of pride in themselves. They can say that they definitely took the game all the way. These were not stomps by the side of Scum Gang. They had to fight, and they almost went down in game number 1, getting very close to dropping. And then game number 2, they still were able to find Poro Snacks, that open inhibitor on the bottom side. So there were some of those smaller movements by the side of Poro Snacks that were good. However, they will not be moving forward in this tournament. Alright, and with that, Invitey continuing just to farm XP, as he's the only one doing those heists. We'll be taking a very quick break to set up for our next best of 3 quarterfinals, which will be Literal Monkeys against the Tortugas from Genesis and Risen organizations, respectively. We'll be back. I want to check on the time. We might end the stream and then come back later, depending on how long we have to go. Those games should start at, I believe it is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've got about 45 minutes. Let me think about that. We're going to take a quick break and make that decision in a moment. While we are on this break, I want to give a shout out to those of you continuing to follow and support. Thank you so much to Totally Not Joey. I guess you're not Joey, but I still appreciate you anyway for that